save lives from a patient's perspective. Elise Sorensen was a Danish nurse and the inventor of the colostomy bag. Her sister had an ostomy operation in 1954, and after that she created the world's first replaceable ostomy bag attachable through an adhesive ring, like the devices used today. Her sister was uncomfortable going outside due to fear of leaks, due to the metal glass capsules or fabric rubber bags people used at the time. They had it, no, pre-1950, they didn't have ostomy bags or appliances. They had to use inner tubes, moss, rags, towels, tuna cans, and bread bags to catch the waste. They had to use aspirin tablets, bicarbonate of soda, vanilla extracts, and peppermint extracts to control the odor. They had to use talcum powder, cornstarch, and aluminum paste to treat skin breakdown. For examples. So this is what they use. So I can't picture. Here's pictures of first ostomy bags. And then they came out in 1957. Different types of ostomies: ileostomy, colostomy, urostomy. Different anatomies. Colostomy versus ileostomy. A colostomy is where they connect one's colon to the abdominal wall, and the output is usually soft to pasty. There are usually no skin issues with the colostomy. An ileostomy is where they connect one's ileum, last part of the small intestine, to the abdominal wall. They also remove or bypass the colon. The output is usually liquid to porridge-like. There are many skin and leaking issues with an ileostomy. There are various brands and products, as there's not a one-size-fits-all as far as products go for ostomies. One needs to empty an ileostomy around 4 to 6 or more times a day, whereas with a colostomy 2 to 3 times a day. A colostomy needs to be changed every 2 to 3 days if it's a drainable bag. An ileostomy needs to be changed an average of 3 to 5 days for most. It's important that one doesn't avoid putting off changing their ostomy pouch, and if they need to change it sooner than the average timeline, that's okay. Most change right away in the morning or right before bed. As a rule of thumb, most ostomates change their pouching system roughly every 3 days. Loop ileostomy versus end ileostomy. A loop ileostomy is where a loop of small intestine is pulled out through a cut incision once abdomen before being opened up and stitched to the skin to form a stoma. It's usually temporary and they still have their colon. A loop ileostomy has 2 openings. An end ileostomy is where the ileum is separated from the colon and is brought out through the abdomen to form a stoma. I have a rare type of ostomy called an end loop ileostomy, so I don't have my colon and it's permanent. My surgery was very complicated because of my urostomy, and I had a bunch of scar tissue, so they had to do an end loop. What is an end loop ileostomy? I have only been able to find 4 articles on an end loop ileostomy. An end loop or loop end ileostomy is functionally not different from an end ileostomy, but the stoma maturation is similar to the technique of loop ileostomy. This technique is often used in obese patients and those with prior operations. My surgeon's assistant explained it to me this way. The construction of the loop will still cause the stoma to be more oval in shape. The difference in the end loop, as I mentioned previously, your colon is removed, so the bowel is cut off and sewn closed after the second loop, creating a dead end. Any stool that may flow to this dead end reverses and exits through one of the openings into your pouching system.
Now for ostomy care, we're going to be doing ileostomy as well as colostomy. So Kat, what kind of ingredients are we working with today?
So what we have is an already put together ostomy. So it's got the bag that you need, and then it has the wafer, and these come as one unit. So this is one way that you might get it. And when you get these, they already have the little diameter marks on them so that you can measure, measure up your bullseye and make sure that you've got the right size. And then we also have the kind that come as two separate pieces. So one is the bag and one is the wafer, and then you have to cut the wafer. Now these bags close differently. It depends on what kind of system you're using. So it might be that it has adhesive here and you're just going to be able to fold it up. Some of them have a clip that comes with them, so a little plastic clip, and you're just going to fold it up on that clip. Now, to measure your ostomy, and this is a standard wound measurement anyway, so this tool should look familiar. But you've got inches on one side, centimeters on the other, and the part that we're really interested in for the stoma is the centimeter diameter in the middle. And you'll notice that that looks basically like this one, okay? This one is actually, it has inches and millimeters, and has the various measurements all the way around, okay?
Very nice. Now when it's actually time to look at the stoma itself, as you can see, we have a red beefy one as well as a pink one. Now, just please know that the red beefy is for fresh, new ostomies, usually 7 days old, sometime in between that time. And the pink should be pink and moist for the duration of like long term, kind of like your lips. I know it sounds a little gross, but just like the lips, pink and moist, you never want them gray, blue, or dusky, or even pale. That's the worst. That means decreased perfusion or basically blood flow, and we have a big, big problem there.
All right, so now we're going to measure the stoma. Now, if the patient has had a stoma for a while, they're probably going to be able to tell you exactly what their size is. If wound care's already been to see this person, then you probably already have a template made and know what size it should be. So I'm just going to put the bullseye in the center of the stoma. Now, not the hole, because the hole can actually be a little bit off center. But I'm just going to center up the whole stoma. Now, if I cut this too big, then gastric juice is going to hurt the patient's skin. It's going to make it red and raw, and then we're going to have a lot of problems later. If I make it too small, then they're going to have trouble getting any kind of vascularization to it, so they're going to actually have issues with blood flow. So, and you have just a little bit of playroom. There's no such thing as perfect. So if you're, up to a centimeter off sometimes is okay. It depends on the patient, and depends on what you see here. So what I would do is say that that was at that 4 centimeters in diameter. And then if I was going to match it up to here, I would again just, kind of line it up and figure out where my 4 was. And on this one, that's going to be about 38 millimeters. Okay? All right, so I'm going to open the standalone wafer. So what you would do is go ahead and cut this piece out, and then you have a template, okay? And again, all your equipment is going to be a little different, so you have to actually look at it. Now, if the patient had specific needs, sometimes you'll put down some stoma paste, sometimes you'll put down some skin prep, and sometimes none of that's necessary. Sometimes all of it is. And so you just have to know your patient and what their needs are. So I'm going to fit this around that stoma, and I'm going to try, and it's real hard on a belly. So if you're having trouble, just know that it's the belly, not you. But you're going to try to get this as flat down against the stomach as you possibly can. Otherwise, it's going to leak. And then you're just going to clip this on. And you're going to and you can actually, some of them you can pull up here so that you're not pushing down on your patient. If you're real certain about how your size is, you could attach this ahead of time. And it snaps on real easy. And then I'm just gonna make sure that this bottom end is secured.
And that wraps it up for ostomy care.
Get back.
So the other tab, Tori, there you go. Yep. And then if you hit the green button, the green
Where?
circle. Wait, what did I do? Does that look right?
Yeah.
Thanks.
So, these are some Aussie supplies. I use these adhesive removers to clean up the residue, and then the skin barrier wipes and spray for skin prep to treat and prevent skin breakdown. And then this is my ileostomy pouch. And then the ileostomy wafers. So the cutting in the video is not fast, and it doesn't happen like that in real life. My ileostomy pouch, and then my ileostomy wafer, and the adhesive remover spray that I use to take out my pouches. And then the barrier rings protect the output so that they don't leak onto the skin and cause leaks. And then, so I use convexity. They come in 3 types. So I use light convex. Soft convex is for stomas that protrude, that are above skin level and need gentle support. Light convex are for stomas that are at skin level, are flush and need moderate support. And then deep convex are for stomas that are chapped or are below skin level and need a lot of support. Fun facts. Acrostomy is usually on the left-hand side of the tummy, whereas ileostomy is usually on the right. This isn't always the case, as sometimes there's disease or the person has scar tissue or another ostomy, so they have to have on the opposite side. Each stoma has its own unique size and shape. Ostomy statistics. Colostomy 36.1%, ileostomy 32.2%, urostomy 31.7%. There are approximately 13.5 million people worldwide with a stoma. A stoma has no nerve endings and can bleed when wiping it as it's vascular in nature, but the bleeding is nothing to worry about. Some who need ileostomy end up starting for colostomy. This tends to happen sometimes due to misdiagnosis for various reasons. More fun facts. Getting an ostomy does improve most, but not all patients' quality of life. Getting an ostomy doesn't cure everyone's reason for needing a stoma in the first place. I'll always have HSAN type 4, and there is no cure, and also rare conditions a person is born with. A stoma is always formed to help, not hinder. The term ostomy is often used to refer to someone who has had a stoma formed. A urostomy is permanent and not reversible. Ostomies are lifesavers. 1 in 500 Americans live with an ostomy. Approximately 725,000 to 1 million people are living with an ostomy or continent diversion in the United States, and approximately 100,000 ostomy surgeries are performed each year in the United States. One can get an ostomy at any age, and even infants have this life-saving surgery. This happens when their organs don't work right or don't develop right. The reasons why a baby would need ostomy are improper anus, Hirschsprung's disease, inflammatory bowel disease, neonatal necrotizing enterocolitis, bladder extrophy, coliacal extrophy, and Eagle-Barrett syndrome. What to avoid and how to be careful. One can only lift 5 to 10 pounds for the first 6 weeks after surgery, but after that time, being an active ostomate can have a positive impact on their health. One can wear a hernia ostomy belt if they have a job that requires lifting to prevent getting a hernia or prolapse, and one can also wear it when they exercise. One's more at risk for stoma hernia when they have had previous abdominal surgery, long-term constipation, obesity, smoking, infection following stoma surgery, malnutrition, and use of steroids. One's more at risk for stoma prolapse if the abdominal muscles or the muscles surrounding the stoma become weak, weight gain, obesity, pregnancy, and it can also happen through process straining, such as lifting heavy objects. If one has a hernia or prolapse, they have to be very careful and can't lift anything more than 10 pounds. Peristomal hernia causes the stoma to look more pronounced and potentially change shape. It may also appear larger, flatter than it did before the hernia. It's quite obvious when one's standing and disappears when they're lying down. One can wear an ostomy support belt to prevent getting a hernia. Prolapse stoma. A piece of their intestine pushes out through the stoma. And the pictures are just... Problems unique to osteoporosis. Skin breakdown. Peristomal skin complications are common, so when that happens, usually one needs to use skin barrier wipes, skin barrier spray, and or hydrocolloid dressing. Bag leakage. This happens if one's stoma has changed size, leaving the bag on too long. Sometimes it can also happen on accident and more. Pancaking. This is when the stool stays at the top and doesn't come down like it should, but the trick is always keep a little air in the bag. Some use lubricating sprays or baby oil to help bring it down. Ballooning. When the bag fills up with air, gassy foods can cause this and ballooning can result in leaks. Dehydration. A big concern for people with ileostomies. Most drink electrolyte drinks to stay hydrated as there's no cooling in most people with ileostomy. A very low percentage of people with ileostomy need extra hydration through a port. Water doesn't hydrate the person with ileostomy, especially when you have to take sips all the time, so you don't flush out the system. The colon is responsible for absorbing water, so when you don't have that, it makes it harder to hydrate. Blockages. In general, ostomates need to avoid popcorn, nuts, sausages, and meats and casings, unpeeled fruits and vegetables, and more to avoid getting a blockage. Adjusting to life with us. There can be emotional and mental issues that come with having to adjust with having ostomy. It can be a huge adjustment. Anxiety and depression can occur as some constantly worry about their stoma, whether it's because of potential leakages, odors, pancaking, ballooning, or not being able to access the toilet easily. Body image is a huge topic in the ostomy community. It can take a while to feel comfortable wearing clothes with an ostomy. Skin breakdown is also a huge topic among people with ileostomies. Many go through temporary hair loss, as this is common as a response to stress after surgery, malnutrition, and more. Some people also name their ostomy as it can help them adjust, and people have said that giving a stoma a name helped to become more of a friend, part of the family, or part of them. I give my ileostomy. I also use these bag covers to help personalize them, style them. And then This is a seatbelt pillow that I use so that they don't pancake and to prevent leaks. Traveling with an ostomy. An ostomy needs to bring extra ostomy supplies, recheck before vacation as a rule of thumb and in case a leak happens. The humidity affects the skin and causes skin breakdown, so on vacation the ostomy might need to use more skin prep depending on the weather and possibly more bag changes. When you fly, an ostomy will be asked to rub their hand over their pouch to make sure they don't have any explosive residue on them. Job searching with an ostomy. Job searching can be more difficult for some ostomies who have underlying health conditions. Sometimes remote jobs are better for their health, while others can do strenuous jobs like law enforcement or the emergency department. It really depends on the state of their health and what's best for them. There are some who can't work due to underlying health conditions and the current state of their health. The job application process can also be difficult, especially if there are gaps in their resume and if they took a break from college due to their health. My experience. I have never had a job, can't work, and taking care of medical needs is a full-time job. My 20s have been spent in the hospitals, doctor appointments, ERs, and more. I don't have college experience. I went to a tuition program because my mom had such disability, but I only went for 8 months as I couldn't handle my medical needs. I am an ostomy advocate and spread awareness on social media to encourage and help others. I also mentor other ostomates when I can. Ostomy awareness. There are many ostomates who spread awareness on social media, whether it be through their job, fashion, showing how to do a big change, encouraging others, and so much more. World Ostomy Day, also known as Ostomy Awareness Day, is always the first Saturday in October. Virtual Ostomy 5K, also known as the Run for Resilience Ostomy 5K, an event hosted by UAA in support of ostomy awareness, and you can wear a t-shirt and or bib provided when you register for the event. You can run, walk, bike, stroll, and more for the event. It's been around for 9 years. The condition that led me to getting my ostomies. There are 8 known types of HSAN, all associated with a different gene mutation, and all are characterized by loss of function that predominantly affects the peripheral sensory nerves. I was diagnosed with HSAN 4.5 years ago, as we didn't know there was a condition that prevents feeling of pain, temperature, uneven sweat, mild insusceptibility, and so much more. HSAN4 is also a spectrum, as some have few medical issues while some have many medical issues. My neurologist believes I might have a new form of HSAN, as no one has the same presentation symptoms as me. I only know one person also has ad hoc nervous system degeneration. No one has this condition in ostomy that I know of except for me. And my neurologist believes my condition was caused in utero, as I don't have a known gene mutation. How it affects me day to day. I get injuries and infections without knowing it. Need to be in temperature controlled environment 24/7. Affects all my organ systems. I get a liter of IV fluids daily through my port. I'm seen by a variety of different specialists who are part of my care team. Have had many abdominal surgeries, hospital stays, and so much more. Last year versus this year. I was suffering from malnutrition for 3 years and wasting weight before I got my ileostomy and colon removed. In a child's view. So this is a penguin that my niece made, and this is how she relates to me. It was supposed to be a clear thing, but that's it.
it okay if we open it up for questions now?
Yeah.
So what questions do you have for?
When you're on vacation or like leaving, do you have to like keep in touch with your doctor and like?
No, I have to pack and like I have to order extra supplies though. Like I have to like pack like a
What's your experience? You just went on vacation.
oh well I just went on vacation, yeah.
Was it harder than usual?
Yeah, cause we were in some places like with humidity, cause like we were like in North Carolina, like along the East Coast, so. By like the beaches. That was fun.
Troy, I have a question. Do you change your own bags? So you have a urostomy and ileostomy bag? You have both?
Yeah, I've had my ileostomy since January, but I've had my urostomy since September 2020, because they did it, so I didn't mention, but they did a colostomy, but that failed. And they kept putting it off, and they really should have done it ileostomy sooner. They should have done it then.
Right.
But I've been doing my own bag changes since February. Yeah. And I order my own supplies now.
So outside that pouch right there, that's your ileostomy? Right there?
No, this is my urostomy.
That's your urostomy, okay. Okay, gotcha. So your ileostomy is under your pants, right?
Yeah.
Like it's kind of under your shirt, like
Yeah.
right there. Okay. I am just so impressed with what you have been through and how you have managed to take this on your own. Tell us a little, so you have a fan right now, tell us a little bit about what it's like to not be able to adjust to heat, not be able to feel pain. Can you tell us a little bit about that too?
It could be hard, cause like, it was like the day after the trip, a bunch of stuff in my suitcase fell out. Oh, don't laugh, cause
Story here, we need to hear. Yeah,
I
don't
almost
let-
pulled-
you gotta let
okay,
it out
so
now.
my favorite character from Friends, so I almost pulled what happened was all the things came out my toe and it could have come off. So now there's a scar right at the tip, and okay, how many of you guys are Friends fans? Yeah, it's like the episode where Chandler lost the tip of his toe. It was like a repeat.
That happened to you? What fell on your toe?
It was like a bunch of stuff in my suitcase, and it was like all bloody, and now it's just gonna be a scar because there's still a bunch of giant blood there. And that was a one time.
And you didn't even realize that happened?
No.
Because you didn't even feel...
No, I can feel pressure. Like, people can just feel pressure, we can't feel pain. Like, on Thanksgiving, so not that long ago, I got overheated, so then it was where my incision was, which is, I'm just so thankful it wasn't after surgery, but because I got so overheated that I just scratched it bloody raw and it looked like meat. And another example is that it was after one of my surgeries. It was 3 weeks after I got an abscess, and I might have caused it. Yeah, I had to have surgery for that too. I pushed on this bump because I thought it was fun to play with,
And it was infected?
Yeah,
Oh
but
my
and then the next day, okay,
What
all
was that
this
same day?
pus and blood came pouring out, and like no.
It was the same day.
And then, yeah, and then so then we went down to Mayo, cause I go to Mayo Clinic. That's where that's where my hospital stays and stuff are.
You have just taken on so much knowledge too, like as you've gone, right? Tell us about, oh, sorry, who else has a question? Yeah, Anna.
I just when you said Mayo Clinic, that's like where I'm interested in working when I'm older. What has been your like experience with it? You like going to Mayo Clinic?
My experience with Mayo, I don't have good experience with their GI department. They weren't very helpful.
They're not very communicative.
They're not very communicative or the portal. But but the surgeons, I like their surgeons. So most of the care there is good. I like that I don't have to go there as often.
Is the portal like the messaging system?
Yeah.
Is that what, so just know like the importance of communication for future patients, like how important that is to how they receive their care, you know?
Most of the time they're like busy, they have their assistants, but it can take a while to get back or something.
Other
Why do you have to avoid like certain foods, like nuts and like I think it was like unpeeled vegetables?
Oh, those can cause a blockage. But like I have to chew very well. Like people always ask me, it's like recommended to chew your food very well. Like, I just try chewing 32 times for each of my stuff. But because since I'm on colon, if I chew really fast, then it'll just come out the same pace. So I have to chew slowly so that it'll digest.
For I think it was the loop ileostomy, you said it has 2 holes, right?
Yeah.
So does the bag still like fit over it the same, or are
Yeah,
they
they're
different?
larger. So
Oh, okay.
sometimes the holes are visible, sometimes they aren't. Like, cause my surgeon assistant, she said that they're not always visible. But like, my urostomy, okay, it's really small. It's only the size is 20 millimeters. And then whereas my end loop ileostomy is 38 millimeters.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, I prefer to not have an end loop because I have to cut wafers and it's very stressful. But the only alternative, because they would have had to like cut through the urostomy or something. Probably like, I'm guessing, pull out intestine and try to move it, or I don't know, it just doesn't seem like a good scenario.
Because now that I'm thinking about it, and tell me if I'm wrong, Tori, and Teresa, you too. So with the ileostomy, it comes from the small intestines, right? So if you think about like how everything for your digestive tract breaks down, right, as it goes through, it doesn't really have a chance to do that. Is that right?
Yeah, but like I think as time goes on, it adapts and takes on the role of the clone, or it learns to adapt to the because like mine was like so chaotic right after surgery and stuff, and like I know my GI said that because I had hydration issues before my ileostomy, that after surgery it just kicked them in high gear. So then because I've had to get IV hydration since early March.
So you have to get hydrate, like, so you do that IV at home?
Yeah.
That's
get
what
the-
your port is for right here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell us about your port. How does that hook up? How does that work? Has anybody seen a port before? So tell us about that port, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I have to make sure not to get it wet, and I use wipes, syringes, heparin locks. I spike the bag. I do different stuff. I've been doing that since I've been doing that since before, like on my own, since right before we left for the trip. I've had it since July, but it took forever for the doctors to agree. I even had to switch primaries.
What was it like before you got your ostomy?
It wasn't good.
Miserable.
It was miserable, yeah. So my colon, like, hadn't really worked since December 2019. And then my other system, my urinary system, that quit working. Because I always had to go on a time schedule since I couldn't feel, but that just quit working March 2020. Right when COVID got bad, so
So you had to use the bathroom a lot, right? Is that like, so before you had the,
no, I couldn't feel, so
so
we had carpet out at the time, so I just, that year I just had to transition